Hey y'all, it's just me, Mama B. Welcome to my place one more time. I'm glad you decided to join me today. I'm also excited to share with you my number one absolute bestest, that's not a word, but you get it, bestest, favoritist soup recipe. So let's get started. Well, let me say this too before we get started. I'm fighting off the crud that my husband gave me, so I'm going to blame it on him. But we're hitting it hard and heavy with, teas and tinctures and salves and lotions and steam baths and you name it, I'm doing it and I'm fighting it, and I'm thankful to the Lord that He's provided everything that I need to get better. So let's get started. You know how good you feel, how good it makes you feel whenever you're not feeling well and you just get a bowl of hot soup. And I really like chicken noodle soup too, but today you're going to be just as excited as me, I hope so, to learn about this. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to share this with you. Bob's Red Mill Veggie Soup Mix. Bob's Red Mill Veggie Soup Mix. I call it Everyday Bean Soup Mix. This is super easy, and that's one reason why I really like making this, because it's easy and it's everything you need is in here. This is just straight up grain, so you put anything that you want to it, and you can just get as creative as you want to get. The first thing, let me just tell you what's in here first of all. The ingredients are lentils. Okay, so there's lentils, green split peas, yellow split peas, pearl barley. They're tiny little pearl barley. There's vegetable pasta, which is made out of durum semolina, spinach powder, paprika powder, and tomato powder. And that's it. That is all that's in here. So what I do first of all, I'm going to reject the call here, so thank you. So what I do first is I get my bean soup mix. I open it up, obviously, and I dump it into a jar because I don't like to store anything in plastic at all, especially, if it's going to be sitting there for a while. So look how cool this is. Isn't that cool? It's pretty colorful too. So there you have it. So the first thing that I do is I measure out my soup mix and I put it in a big pot, the pot that I'm going to be boiling it in on the stove, and I will rinse it probably 3, 4, maybe 5 times, because when you add water to this, the water is instantly going to be gray, and I don't like all that gray water in my soup. And once in a while, maybe you might see like a little tiny stone or something, so you're going to want to definitely look for that too before you start making your soup. So how it works is the recipe calls for 1 cup of the veggie soup mix to 4 cups of water. So when I make this, I always double it because we just eat so much of it. So I'll take 2 cups of the soup mix and rinse it off real good, and then add 8 cups of water, put it on the stove, and start heating it up. Excuse me. And then here's what I add to it. Like I said, just be as creative as you want to be. Hang on, I got to get a drink. Elderberry tea. Okay, so get as creative as you want to be with this. Here's what I add. You ready? 2 large onions. Yep, I load mine up with onions. 1 complete garlic bulb. Okay. Salt and pepper is the only spice that I use. That's pretty much what I use for just about anything, is just salt and pepper. And I usually use, I go organic as much as I can. Because if you compare the price between, say, organic carrots and non-organic, it's not really that much of a difference. So I'm cool with organic. I do 1 whole pound of organic carrots, and I'll chop up this much celery. It's a lot of celery. So chop that all up, put it in right away with your soup mix and your water, and put the lid on and simmer that for probably, you have to keep stirring it because it'll start to thicken as it boils. Yeah, you're gonna want to keep stirring it for probably about an hour. Now here's the thing. You can make this as thick or as thin as you want. Some people, when they think of soup, they want like a hearty soup. I actually know someone who eats soup with a fork. I'm like, that's not soup. That's like, I don't know, goulash or something. I don't even know what you would call it. But like, who eats soup with a fork? Is there anyone else out there that eats? Can you call it soup if you're eating it with a fork? I don't think so. Anyway, I like a lot of broth, okay? And don't forget, whatever you're boiling down, most of the nutrients from what you put in there, the carrots and the onions, and that is really all going into the broth. So pretty much what you have left is, really highly nutritional broth and, fiber from vegetables that you put in there. Now, I need to say this, that you can add your chicken broth instead of water. What I like to do is I like to add my water first and get everything ready, get a really nice base after like an hour, and then what I do is this. I'll get a chicken broth if I don't have any chicken broth in the freezer, and I'll just dump this in as I heat it up, because when you put this in the fridge after it's done to store it, it's going to get really, really thick. So unless you like it that way, unless you want to eat your soup with a fork, I want broth, okay? So here's what it looks like, because I just made some yesterday, and I store it in this big old thing. Here's what it looks like. See how thick that is? After it's made and cold, all right? So when I want to eat it, I'll just take a little bit of that out and put it in a pot and heat it up and add some vegetable broth or any kind of broth really, and then flavor it with more salt and pepper. But doesn't that look yummy? And so, like I said, you can make it as thick or as thin as you want. Now, there is another recipe that I will be sharing with you in the future, so stay tuned. It's called potassium healing broth, and it is super, super nutritional, especially in the winter months. And it takes a minute. It really does take a minute, I will say that, but it's really worth making. Basically, you just get like a large pot, and you just dump in, like, once again, you're only going to be drinking the broth, so you want to try to go organic if you can. Potatoes, carrots, onions, red peppers, just dump it all in there, celery, dump it all in there, and you simmer this for probably 6 hours or maybe something like that, and then you strain it with like a cheesecloth, and that broth is so nutritional. So yeah, maybe sometime soon here I'll break that recipe out and share it with y'all. But I was totally excited to share this recipe with you. Everyday bean soup mix. It's really easy, right? Like super easy. And short beets, soup from a can, and soup that you get in the restaurants. Because if you, now that this, this is my opinion, right? If you knew what was all in that soup, like the sodium level is through the roof. And not only the sodium level, but all of the preservatives and stuff that they put in there. And you could pay anywhere upwards of, I don't know, $5-6 for a bowl of soup. And this is, you can make your own at home and have it, for, I don't know what I paid for this, maybe $4, something like that. And it's really good for you. And you know exactly what's going in it. That's the cool thing. You know exactly what's going in it. So, hey, I wanted to thank you for stopping by my place, and you all have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.